Hi, my name is Brian Broom. I'm going to be talking about maximizing return on attention. Currently, I've got my Evernote open up here on the web, and I've got a couple of projects listed here in my projects folder in Evernote. Now, maximizing return on attention is basically focused on maximizing your return on investment, but for your return on investment on your attention. The typical way that flow is achieved is by setting aside a chunk of time, working through a struggle point. There's always going to be struggle to get to flow. In order to reach this point of flow, which is kind of where productivity and skill and enjoyment all reach their zenith. But maximizing return on attention seeks to minimize the amount of time you spend in struggle and maximize the amount of time you spend in flow. The way you do this is by some upfront investment in time. You create basically modular data packets so that instead of needing an extensive amount of time to reach flow and then needing uninterrupted hours to maintain flow until your project is finished. Basically, creating these modular packets creates stopping off points so that if you get stopped, if you get distracted, something happens, an important phone call comes up, whatever, you can just jump right back in where you were and ideally maintain that same level of flow. So for this week, I reviewed some interviews of people in operations by listening to a podcast called Operations, hosted by Sean Lane, and taking notes on what I heard. I've made some edits recently, which is why you can see those timestamps there. And then there was a post outline, which I must have opened before I started recording this video. Anyway, and basically what I did was I have all my notes, and I did progressive summarization on it. So I went through and bolded first, and then later I came back and I highlighted the things I thought of the bolded stuff that was most important. And that information, in a much more concentrated way, is what made it to my outline post. This is very, very bare bones. It's basically doing the headings first workflow strategy, so that when I made my post, I just had to fill this out with the other information that I already had. It was almost copy and paste from the other notes that I had. And that's more or less how I got that workflow to work in my favor, so that even though I had all these distractions this weekend, I was still able to get this done in a short amount of time. And that is, generally speaking, what maximizing return on attention is about. If you don't have a lot of attention that you can spare in an amount of time, you want to be able to pull this kind of information from things you've done before. And you want it to be modular to the point where you have enough information, you can just finish entire projects with packets that you've made before. And that's how it works.